Good afternoon. How are you all? It's Tuesday, 3 p.m. and we have a short topic to add today, which is really stemmed from the immigration raids right now going on in the country. So those immigration raids are really for small businesses. So if you just go on Google's and Google immigration raids, and then you will see what happens going on. And these are federal efforts, right? Federal efforts trying to get hold of all the people who are working in the business, who are working for the employer without status. So that kind of linked into your salary side of world in your business, whether your salary that you pay to your workers is reasonable or not, pay to yourself is reasonable or not. That could all coming from this whole series of actions by federal government, which at our firm, we actually started to let folks know that you can get your payroll compliance review done by us. And we will charge you a fixed fee, but we come in, we will make sure that everything on your payroll side is squeaky clean. So whether they come in to audit you, raid you, and investigate you, however the government wants to do to you, and then you should be safe and sound. So I want to say that small business, in the past, you may have more wiggle rooms to do things wrong and claim that, oh, I don't speak English, so I don't know. And their judges or auditors, whoever come from the federal government agencies, they're sympathetic to you. They might even give you a way out and it's okay. But nowadays, that's not the situation anymore, folks. Small businesses are under attack. I just want you to know, not in the way of they want to get rid of all of the small business. They want to rule all the small businesses out when you are not doing the right thing. And the salary and the payroll, hiring people is one of the big items that IRS and White House is working on. So now let's just quickly go through our firm's credential, and communitycpa.com, that's our website. I would want you to know on our website you can make an appointment with us, and we can come to talk to you, and a video conference. We can resolve your specific issue. And here we have a YouTube channel as well. It's called Community CPA. Get on our YouTube channel and listen to what we're talking about. We always give you the topics that is relevant for today's situation. And we're not talking about ERC now because it's past water under the bridge, right? So we only talk about what's relevant right now, which is a good way for a business owner to get to know what you need to do. So this is a number list of our firm, of our credentials. I'll just pass that really quickly, and my books that I wrote, and then the seminar disclaimer. All right. Reasonable compensation for corporation business owners. In this section, we only talk about C corporation and S corporation. And the reasonable compensation, it is something that this particular word really doesn't have any gauges, right? You feel like it is very wishy-washy. What do you mean by reasonable? So when you get audited, and when the IRS people come out and say to you that your compensation is not reasonable, and they would tell you why, but for you, you need to justify why it is reasonable. And a very simple example, so many years ago, one of our clients who is the attorney office. So the owner attorney, the shareholders S corporation, and she was paying herself W-2 of $60,000. And the IRS came around, goes, that's not a reasonable compensation as a lawyer. Everybody else in your area, we did a search, it is about $120,000 and more. So that's IRS position, saying that not reasonable, $60,000, we don't accept it, and you better raise your salary, come up with Social Security Medicare payment that you did not pay, and you owe government, you have penalty interest and all of that. But just one sentence, we went back to IRS and defeated it all. What did we say? We said $60,000 is a reasonable compensation because our client, our shareholder employee, only works 1/3 of the time in the year. That's it. So reasonable compensation, I'm just giving you an example that is very fluid, right? It depends on your situation. So you want to be reasonable, period. But if you are out of line and with a number that obviously too low or obviously too high, and you need to have a reason. If IRS determines you are not reasonable, then there's a penalty and interest. And so we will talk about in these two corporation structure how that works. So let's go ahead, figure that out in terms of C corporation. And IRS watches everybody's tax file. So we, as a small business owners, we're really little bottom line kind of companies. We don't represent the majority. The C corporation actually frequently have an issue related to the compensation. They're not reasonable because they are paid too high. You may say that, oh, Ying, make no sense. What do you mean? Paid too high, that means your lawyer got $220,000 payment. That's good, right? It's better than the reasonable pay what IRS was talking about. Not in the C corporation situation, because when you make a very big payroll payment, your C corporation is supposed to pay taxes, right? That payroll will go away, become expense. So you're actually lowering your corporation taxes by paying the officer or the shareholder or the important people very unreasonably high salary. When you pay unreasonably high salary, the Social Security doesn't go up anymore, right? You top the threshold of Social Security tax payment. So there's reasons why in the C corporation tend to pay higher salary than what reasonable is. So by paying high, C corporation owner can pay lower corporation tax. But if the salary is excessive compared to the work performed, the IRS may reclassify these salaries to be dividend, so result in corporation tax and the dividend tax. Dividend tax is on the personal side, so you have corporation tax already 21%, then you have a dividend tax at another 20%, so total of 41%, right? But our individual tax rate is what? It's actually 37%, so it's much easier, better for the C corporation owners to put that on the payroll and take the 37, but here they don't want that to be a dividend distribution. So with that said, reasonable pay, you want to get into the reasonable place with C corporation and don't try to overpay. But if you say, well, Ying, in our small business world, how many people would have C corporation making so much money that they don't know how to pay taxes? Maybe not by majority, but if you really lose money in the C corporation, remember, you don't have to pay yourself a salary. If you don't have money to pay salary, you don't pay salary. Don't pay yourself. But if you hire people, of course you have to pay. I know you cannot find some labor market people coming into your company and won't let you pay them salary. They work for you for free. So that doesn't really work, right? So if it is just we're talking about you, and then you don't pay yourself if you don't make money. So that is our C Corp. Then, of course, I did not give you the magical number saying that what is reasonable Ying, and I am C Corp owner, and my C Corp is a holding company and holds my secret recipe. And what do you charge me? How much salary I'm going to run? Maybe you don't run salary because you didn't really have any labor issues inside of your C corporation. You're simply just a holding company, right? So those are the details. When you come across those kind of issues, and just remember, you can always turn to your CPA to have them help you. And if your CPA is too busy, we've got nothing to do here. Community CPA has so many people and so much time we can give to you, and so you come to us. We will never tell you that, oh, we're too busy. and we don't have time for you. But I have heard our client saying that, oh, Ying, we want you to work with you guys because my CPA told me that he doesn't have time and he's too busy. Yeah, there are some people are truly too busy. They didn't really have a lot of people work together. But here in our firm, we have teams. So it's just not about Ying, right? It's about the bunch of people who are work together here at our firm. So S corporation, did we talk about S? So S corporation, folks heard about reasonable pay. And from IRS standpoint, the S corporation owners tend to underpay themselves. Why? Because if they underpay, the salary is little, so they don't pay Social Security, Medicare, that much of taxes, then the distribution is payroll tax free. So that is the two kind of spectrum C Corp, S corporation has. So they charge, they would want to go away from W-2 and they want to get more distribution. If IRS determines the salary is unreasonable, too low, and they would reclassify your distribution dollars that you took home on the distribution check, they would say that is your wages and pay it. So there's a famous cases with the tax court, which is Iowa. One of the Iowa CPA firm, they no longer exist. They got bought by other companies. So one of the actually all of the shareholders, they were paying themselves W-2 on $25,000 a year. $25,000. That's what the part-time student works at McDonald's make. But those partners, they pay themselves W-2 for $25,000. Then they get $250,000 distribution check from the company. So IRS come around, ruled that the $25,000 unreasonable, and asked them to increase that $25,000 from their distribution dollars to there by another $100,000. So it's $125,000. Then the shareholder, of course, don't want to end up paying so much taxes because 100,000 times Social Security, Medicare, we're talking about $15,000, actually $45,000 total on that amount to pay. So it is for each partner. So it was too much to handle, and so they fought in the tax court. As soon as you go to tax court, all the information is public. So we can see that IRS stepped down and made them to do a W-2 at $60,000 instead of $25,000. So they still paid a little bit of charge, but not as big as $125,000 on the W-2, right? So you see how the S corporation, this kind of judgment would come in from IRS to say that you're not reasonable. This is not a reasonable pay, right? So with that said, and you understand those payroll things can literally be the beginning of your serious troubles, because if you got your payroll issue, then your IRS agent can refer you to Department of Labor, refer you to the state revenue or the state workforce. So you're gonna have never-ending audits going on for your taxes and for your books. So we want to make sure that your S corporation salary that you pay to the owner, it is a reasonable pay. Then you may say that, well, Ying, I've been running my S corporation, but I keep on losing money. There's no way I am going to have any money to pay myself salary. What should I do? You should not pay yourself. That's what you should do. If you don't even make money, where you got money to pay anybody? The only person can work for the company without complaining, without needing to get paid, or can suffer without pay, those are you yourself, or maybe your spouse, or your children, right? So everyone else, if they work and need to get paid, they are protected by Department of Labor. You cannot not pay people who work for you unless it is yourself. Or is your family, that's okay. And you can abuse your family members and just don't tell anybody. As long as they love you, you're safe. You're safe, right? With that said, so these are the places I want to say to you that it's not like you have to run W-2, but if you don't make money, you don't run W-2, right? The IRS closely watches both strategies we talked about, because in the corporation they use those strategies to avoid paying taxes. IRS defines reasonable compensation as the amount that would ordinarily be paid for like services by like enterprises under like circumstances. It's a lot of words. But basically, they do want to compare apples to apples. So they're not going to compare your pay to somebody. You're a CEO of a company, your own company. They're not going to compare you to CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk, if he can still hold his position. So, they know to compare apples to apples if IRS comes to you. And the IRS wants to see that what you paid yourself in line with what you would pay someone else who comes to do the same job like you. But you know that. You always can define your work hours. Do you really work full-time or you actually work part-time? Because the whole reason you have the business, it was because you want to take care of your kids, right? So really you want to look at your salary, making sure that if you didn't pay the same amount of the salary like somebody else who would work your job, then you pay the proportion, then making sure that you are also a proportion full-time employee, not a full-time employee. Factors that IRS exams, they look at your duty and responsibility, so they talk to you friendly, nicely. They say, oh yeah, what do you do? Like, are you here all the time? And do you have to, can you just leave the office and things are still working or not really? What kind of experience you feel like, you're so busy, I feel so sorry for you. So what kind of experience you must have to really run someone like you? So those are the conversation would flow out of the auditor very easily with you. And you can engage such a nice chat with them, but what they do is they're examining the factors to determine what your salary should be. And look at the last point on this slide, gross and the net income of the business. Why is that a consideration? That is where if you have a loss and you don't pay yourself, even though you deserve to be paid, that is where that comes from. Owners should regularly review these factors. And the best recommendation I give you is right now, because it is so sensitive, everything is related to people, and you must have your I-9, your W-4 in place, and you be ready for immigration raids when they come. And there's no warning, okay? They're just gonna come. And when they come, they line your people up on one side of the wall, and then they will point out this person and give me the I-9 and W-4. If you don't have it, they are going to have you, survey them right away. Where you come from? Do you have work permit? Can you show me what you have? So that's a whole bunch of compliance right on the spot. So you want to make sure that you do payroll compliance review. And you can do that with Community CPA, and we will have a list of things we want to look at. Then we will tell you what you are not doing right and change your way of doing payroll. If you are running a restaurant, and other than the owner, and everyone else should just be on hourly rate. So if you're like, oh, that's so much trouble, Ying, I don't want to do that. And yeah, I heard you saying that for the last 30 years. I understand what you're talking about, but the environment is not the same. The requirement is the same, but now it is being enforced. I would say that those kind of requirement on the reasonable pay or on the hourly and whatever we're talking about, nothing is new. Zero. It's just a matter of whether the government is enforcing it or not enforcing it. So right now we are just at the stage where this is being enforced seriously. So we want to just perk up and be serious about it, right? That's really it. That's how I want our folks to survive in this period of scrutiny. how to establish reasonable pay, do a market search. Understand. Don't you want to know whether you are hiring the people good deal or okay deal or no good deal? You only when you know how much the market is paying, you will know how you hire people. I'll tell you that in my experience, when your business grow bigger and bigger, the bigger your business grow, the more market driven you are. And your HR people would start talking about the market rate is this, so we're going to pay people this. So more and more things will be going more regular. So if you're still at infancy stage, you're still a young company, you're still trying to cut corners and survive, I understand you don't want to do market search, but again, you must meet the minimum requirement, right? The government has minimum requirement, and you want to make sure that the people you hire are not working for you under the wrong circumstance, because you could get yourself in much serious issues than you are expected to be in. So keep detailed job descriptions, because that is important. When job is different, pay is different, you want to make sure that you know exactly what you are paying this person, right? And this person not gonna say that look, this is my real job description. I should get paid for $100,000 a year, but here you have a job description that was never updated, never even showed to anybody, and which you are giving $45,000 a year, right? So you want to make sure that job description is agreed between you and the people you have in your workforce. Maintaining formal records, so important. I-9, W-4. If I say I-9, you don't know what I'm talking about, I want you to go to our YouTube channel, just type I-9, and look at all of our videos related to I-9. We teach you how to get that done correctly. And the document annual review is always important. I know you don't have to hire people to do annual review all the time, but I would encourage you to hire people right now to do a payroll compliance review to make sure that you're actually correct. All right. Making sure in this volatile time, we are absolutely in a volatile time. And today, the Prime Minister of Canada met with President Trump. And in front of the Prime Minister's face, and our president is still talking about how good of a deal that is to make Canada a 51 state. I'm flabbergasted. I just cannot believe. And this is how, this is just, I'm beyond word, because English language is the language I learned in the environment I was in for the last 30 years. So this is just brand new. Those kind of vocabulary and description adjectives, I have to figure it out what would be the best one. The environment is very different. And your business environment, especially for small businesses that employed a lot of minorities and people with immigration status, you are not having a good time. You are in a difficult time. You want to strengthen your position, and you want to be in compliance without any issues, black and white, and you want to get your compliance review done. Know you are in a solid ground. And if the compliance review is done, and you know you got number of items that is not good, at least you are aware of that and you are taking steps to correct it. The worst part is that you have no idea what's going on. You know, Canada already become 51 state and you don't even know. And if you are like that, and then the rate showed up, you might even offer them dinner. You might say, oh yeah, folks, come over. I have good food to offer you. You don't even know what they're coming for. So just please, know that this is important for you to understand. Your payroll need to be squeaky clean. Hire Mr. Clean to come in to get your payroll looked at. And this is not just making your position strong against the government scrutiny. This is to make your business last. This is essential, all right? Don't be victimized by the most recent immigration raids, and that is going on right now, right? And for your payroll side of things, make it accurately compliant. Accurately compliant. That is what we're calling, what we're telling folks. These are the partners I have in the firm, and you can name any one of them, and they would come out to help you. Okay, we have a strong team, and I say that you know how Asian folks come in small packages. I always say that this is a bunch of folks that coming in small packages, but absolutely powerful. So if you want to experience how amazing we are, just engage us. You will know. All right, last slides. We are the only CPA firm open 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday. Yep. For that special claim, I actually go on internet to search to make sure that there's no other CPA firm does it. No other, because they're not as crazy as we are. We're workaholics, We like to make ourselves busy. We always claim we have a lot of time, and we always know that whoever walks into this door, they're special. So we want you to know you're special. Come to Community CPA. We serve you from head to toes and make you look like a real hero out there in the business world. See you.